Welcome to Techbrothersit. In this video, we are going to learn about repartition by range in PySpark. Repartition by range creates a new data frame that is range partition based upon the specific column or columns. Now, it ensures the records with a similar range of values are grouped together. It is used for better performance during sorting, joining, and writes. And Spark uses a sampling to estimate partition boundaries. So if you have, let's say, some records there, and you will apply the repartitioning, it's not going to be 50% or exactly the way you want to divide. There would be smaller, variation and can happen that. So we will see that as well. And here is our sample data. We have ID and name, and I'm creating a data frame called DF, and we are using this sample data and then using these columns for our as a schema. We will create this data frame and then we'll show the results from here. So it will be very simple, and you can see actually straightforward. It has only ID and name, and there are total 10 records here, and that's all we have here. Now, if I want to check the total partition created in this data frame, we can go for it, check the original number of partitions, and the original partition equal to df.rdd get number partitions. So this is going to give us the total partition in the data frame df, and then we can print this variable here. So it will be giving us the total number of partition in this our data frame df. Now let me actually go ahead and run it. It's gonna go give you 4. That is the value we are going to get, and here you can see that we have total original partition is equal to number 4. Now if I want to repartition by range and I want to use some column, so ID column could be very nice column to have it, and here I'm creating a new data frame df repartitioned, and I'm using on the top of that df, that's my original data frame, and then I'm applying a repartition by range function. Here I'm telling the total number of partition, that is 2, and here I am telling on which column you need to consider that. So it is ID, and we have 10 records, so it should be converting the 4 partition actually into 2, and then dividing these records into 2 partitions. So if I will run this one now, it's gonna return me 2 records here. So we can go ahead and that's the number of partition is going to return me. Now what I will do, let me actually execute this one so I can show you. So here is our original data frame, 10 records. Here is the total number of partition, that's by default, that comes when we created a df, and then here actually, okay, so this one was needed to be executed. I just did not print that. So now when we repartition, we told it to convert into 2 partition and use the ID column. So here I'm going to go ahead and add a partition index column to inspect partition distribution. Let's add this line for the SQL function and import the Spark partition ID here, and then we can go ahead and create a new data frame here and say df partition. So that's our df partitioned here, and then with column, so we are adding a new column to it, and then it's in partition ID and using this Spark partition ID. So it's going to add a column, new column that will be called partition ID, and it will give us the index of that partition. Now we can go ahead and use this df with partition info order by ID, and then we'll see the results right there. So I'm going to go ahead and execute this whole thing, and that's how you will be able to see the entire thing. Right here, when we had the original data frame, and that was df, we had 10 records, and then there were 4 partitions by default that were created when we created the data frame. We decreased the number of partition to 2 by using the repartition by range and use the column ID, and then we partition data preview range range partition by ID. Remember that we have added that column on top of it, so it is partition ID, and we can see that the 0, this is our first partition, so it is indexed starting with 0, so you will see 0, and then you see 1 because we have 2 partition, and it is equally distributed right now, but we can go and further test. Let's say if I will do 3, now in those cases it cannot be 33.33. so if you divide all these range, so you in one of the partition you will get 4 records, and other partition you will get 3 records, and then you will get 3 records as well. So here, look, if you look at this, once we divided this data frame into the 3 partitions, and you can see that the first 4 records went to the partition 0, then next 3 records went to the partition of index 1, and there is 3 records went to the next partition. So this is how you can divide your data frame as you like in the different partitions by using the repartition by range function. So I thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.